When is the opportunity to catch your biggest bass of the year? In today's video, we're about to go over the time of day and the month. I have data collected from a variety of anglers and put it together in graphs to help you understand the time of the day and even the month to catch the biggest bass of the year. Let's get into it.
I hate the 9.
Okay guys, as I get into these graphs, I have 140 data points, okay, from trusted anglers. How I did this was fish that they caught in tournaments or caught, weighed, and took a picture of to where there's a time stamp now on it with an iPhone. Okay, so it's anglers I trusted, a variety of anglers. Almost half of these data points came from fishing my boat with clients, friends. There you go. Now guys, the reason I picked 5 pound or bigger, 5 pounds a good sized bass throughout the country. Now in Texas, yeah, their ShareLunker program starts for a 24-inch fish, which can be a big 7-pounder or an 8-pounder, okay? Florida, 7-pound plus fish or more are big fish. Louisiana, okay, I get it. So, but I know a lot of anglers where their biggest bass might be 6 pounds or right over 5 pounds. So I think 5 pounds was a good data point. For future, I've already started this for this year. I'm going to keep up with the data, and I'm going to do this for each year. So guys, let's go ahead. I'm going to first show you the month, okay? The month total. We're going to talk more in depth on it. Now, as you're looking at it right now, okay, you see June and July are your two highest months with the data that I have collected. Now, the biggest bass, though, overall was in the winter, okay? From the data I've collected, I had more bigger fish in the month of February, okay? Which was interesting because even it's February 12th when I'm filming this, guys, but February 2nd, 3rd is when my client caught that 12-pounder, which right now is going to be the biggest fish of the year, probably, okay? Cannon caught his 11 end of January. So yes, the winter, you catch bigger fish up to the spring because that's the biggest they're going to be. But why you look at this, June and July have more numbers, okay? One, people are fishing more, okay? Two, there are more hours in the daylight. And then 3, what happens is, on this data, is fish tend to feed more in the summer due to the water temperatures being higher. In the winter, water temperatures are low. Fish don't got to feed all day. When those water temperatures are high, guys, they got to feed. But they're not going to be maybe as biggest as they can be as in the winter. But in the winter, so much timing to catching that fish and it being the biggest it is, okay? For me, my biggest fish last year was in February. A couple guys I knew, their big ones were in February. So now looking at this, though, one of the interesting ones to me, though, and we're going to talk about it, let's look at April. April and November. But April is the prime time of the fish like in the spring, spawn getting caught. Why, Jimmy, is April so low? So majority of these fish catches, guys, was in Arkansas. Some of my data is in Texas. Like my biggest fish last year was in Texas, O.H. Ivy, okay? So that's kind of like an outlier. My second biggest bass last year, O.H. Ivy. So anyway, but a lot of my guys that I got this data from, even in April, the water levels on the lakes were fluctuating. We had a bunch of weather last year, and it was hard to catch fish at times. It really was. I think April, 7-pounder was the biggest that I had in my logged. It was not by me. It was by a good friend of mine, and it was at Millwood Lake, a shallow lowland reservoir. That one might have been March, actually, okay? The April might have been by somebody else. Now, for me, though, I didn't catch a fish over 5 pound, guys, in March and April. Did not. I did end of April, sorry, but I did not. Part of that is because I was straight live scoping and trying to master that craft even in the spring, okay? And I didn't catch a fish over 5 pounds doing it. So guys, there you go, okay? Live scope's not always the answer. But looking at this right here is pretty interesting. November's the one that's like only 2, and then December, boom, it went up. So that was interesting there too. So guys, just me asking you real quick, what month for you is the best month that you've caught some big fish in? So hopefully I helped explain that. That May period is kind of that post-spawn, they start thickening up. But then that summertime, man, they're just feeding and there's more opportunities for it. Now we're gonna get into, guys, the hourly segment, which is really, really cool. Okay, so when I did this, like I said, if these pictures were taken on iPhones or a new smartphone, you can get a stamp of the time. And so that's where a lot of my data was putting in. Now, one thing about this, guys, right away, I didn't get much night fishing data. Like, guys, I know 2 or 3 dudes that live at night fishing in the summer, and they would have put the night ranges up higher. I didn't want to do that. due to, I know there's not many anglers fish at night. Maybe this year I'll do it. Guys, I'll just go ahead and leave in the comments if you want more night fishing data. Because I'm telling you, like, I knew guys that would catch 5-pounders in a night at times. And so I didn't want to put that in there and kind of conflict the data, maybe, or not conflict, that's the wrong word. I have a math degree, guys. So, but you know what I'm saying. I didn't want to skew the data. I didn't want that to kind of, and I want to be more realistic with people, okay? The night data you see is data that I fished at night. I fished at night 4 times last year, okay? During my night fishing trips, you see it 4 times. I did catch 1 7-pounder last year at night. We maybe in that one tournament I had a 5-pounder that was big bass. And you see there on some other night trips I had some good ones too, okay? So we had one really good night tournament last year, guys, all right? But most of the time I fish during the day, okay? It's hard to fish at night now when I have him and now little sister. Ain't that right, James? You gonna say, huh? He's saying hi. Okay, all right, so James has his baits right here. Look at this guy. So looking at this, the one thing about this, guys, now this is what's weird about the day. So anybody, lunar tables, right? Oh, we got to follow the lunar table and this. A lot of people have always asked me, do you believe in the lunar table? Lunar table is something I think I've seen at times where it's like, wow, it's on point. Summer, it's more on point, it seems like, than at times in other times of year. Spring, there's so many other more factors, such as the weather, previous day, the other day, water conditions. But guys, looking at this right here is interesting. That 9 to 10 o'clock hour, like if I would ask anybody, when time of the day are they going to catch their biggest bass? You wouldn't think it's that 9 to 10 o'clock hour. It's always going to be that middle of the day, or even that 2 to 3 o'clock day. So, and I guess next time I do this, I could break it down by months and time of day. So for instance, just because it's top of my head, that 12-pounder was caught at 11:30. The 11-pounder that was caught, 12:30. Okay, so you kind of see it right there. Now look, that 11 to 12 o'clock range was odd to me. But there were times this summer I look back on my trips when we were catching a lot of these fish in the summer. Dude, that was a period where like nothing was happening. It was calm, the fishing wasn't as good, and all of a sudden, look, 12 to 1 comes and 1 to 2, and like this period here, it is just fire, okay? Now these later periods, like 6 to 7, that's summer, guys, right? That's not in the winter. So one thing to think about this too, some of these periods might have more numbers to it due to the fact that the time of the day is more in the range. Like in the winter, you're not fishing at 6 o'clock at night. Maybe some of you guys are, I'm not. James, what are you doing, okay? But that 9 to 10 o'clock hour was really, really intriguing to me. And even look, like the 7 to 8 o'clock hour, you think in the summer, a lot of those fish are caught first thing. But guys, by looking at my data, the 7, 8 o'clock really wasn't, okay? I'm going to keep that there. I wonder if I can look at it real quick on mine. I didn't make graphs for it, but for example, like that 7 to 8 a.m., January has 4 of them. December has 4. So looking at that, 14, 8 of them are in the winter. Guys, those fish eat right off the bat in the winter. That daylight comes up, those fish know it's daylight, days are shorter, boom, we're going to get some food. And I'm saying some of them later hours could as well. Now that 9 to 10 o'clock hour, since I can look at it right here, there's 20, right? 5 of them are in July, 4 are in May. So half of them are right there. Now December has 5, okay? So like a third of them are right there. Let's look at some other periods, okay? That 1 to 2 o'clock period, there's 16 of them. Pretty spread out. January 3, February 3, March 2. So that's a pretty spread out number. Pretty interesting. So look at that 12 to 1. That 12 to 1 has 10, okay? 3 December, 2 June, 1 May, 2 February, 1 January. So that's pretty spread out as well. So guys, it's pretty cool there with this data. And let's go ahead and look at 10 to 3. 10 to 3, or excuse me, 13's there, 10 to 11 o'clock. None January, February, March 2, June 6. Wow, ain't that something? Good time right there. So guys, sharing this data with you just to kind of give you an eyes and just to kind of look at some data with the bass fishing, okay? And so this year I'm going to try to get more data, put all this together for the next year as well. Guys, if you like this style video, let me know. Appreciate it, man. I kind of put this together to kind of help y'all out. If you do, I'm going to put, I got my baits that caught the 7-pound and fish bigger. I haven't talked about that, but if y'all want a video on that, I'll go ahead and make. I know I talked about it at the end here if you're still watching. So if you want the baits for 7-pound or bigger fish, I think I caught 8 7-pound bass last year, and I got a couple logged right here from people as well. Like one of the guys that caught a 7 caught it on a frog. I didn't catch a 7-pounder on a frog last year. Okay, and just real quick, I guess if you're still watching, what was my #1 lure last year? that caught majority of these 7-pound fish. There actually wasn't a one. I think 3 of them were tied. Okay, so what, 6? 3 caught 2, right, 2 of the fish. So, and then I'll go ahead and say a spinnerbait caught 1 of them also, okay? But anyway, guys, hope you like this style video. Let me know what you think about it. Hey, we'll see you on the next one.